What is up, guys? New episode of MMA Dynasty. We're back after the first pay-per-view of the year, UFC 283 in Brazil. I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view. Obviously, it wasn't the most stacked, but sometimes those less stacked pay-per-views end up being the more enjoyable ones, and that's what it was to me. I thought it was very enjoyable. We live streamed, super successful. If you guys haven't checked it out, rewatch it. It's under our lives on our MMA Dynasty channel. We're thinking about going live for every event. So if you'd be interested in that, comment down below that you'd be interested. Give us like this video, subscribe, and yeah, what did you think of that event last night?
Honestly, I thought it was a really good event. Jamal Hill, new light heavyweight champion for the UFC. You know, I guess he's the second American champion right now because Aljamain was born in the US, I think. So
Mm.
it's really big for the United States. We got a champion, and he looked amazing over Glover. I think that Glover looked older. He looked slower and less coordinated, especially when he got on top of Jamal. Like his ground game didn't look as strong as it used to. He didn't look as powerful on the ground, but he still had his chin. And what surprised me is that Jamal Hill just looked amazing on the feet. Like that's the best version of Jamal Hill I've ever seen on the feet. He looked really skilled, improved kicks, and yeah, he looked amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed. I don't necessarily know if Glover is worse. I saw a lot of people saying that Glover was really bad. It's just not the same Glover and stuff. But I feel like if it wasn't the same Glover, his chin would be gone. You know what I mean? I just think that Jamal Hill had a lot better takedown defense than we all expected. I think he just has this weird, like chubby, fat guy, like not
Mhm.
fat guy, but like some like a little bit of
Yeah,
fat, like strength. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And yeah, I credit to that. I don't think this Glover was worse than the Yuri one.
What about the Glover on top of him? Because like
I mean,
I've never seen anyone get up like that from Glover
I just think Jamal
and
Hill's
mount.
just really good, honestly. I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, like, I just don't think you lose that kind of grappling.
Mhm.
Like he's like we said, he was training for Yuri for like 5 months. You know what I mean? Like, so he
Yeah,
was training. Jamal Hill came off like a 5 week training camp. Like he was
yeah,
gonna be more prepared. Glover was way more prepared, and it
right.
didn't seem to matter. So I give complete credit to Jamal Hill. I don't think this is a lesser Glover. If it was, I think he'd get knocked out. And I think it's going to be interesting to see who he fights next. I'm hoping that they do the Ankalaev versus Jan rematch, but a 3 rounder on a pay per view, maybe to like a featured fight or something. I know the UFC didn't love that fight, but I honestly liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. I think that was more just because they were really upset about Patty and it kind of clouded their judgment a bit for that main event. But I'm hoping they do that because I think one of those guys is the rightful number one contender. Because like, who else is going to fight for it? Is Alexander Rakic? Hell no. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of it.
Yeah,
Or if he moves up, like that's
yeah,
it. So I mean, that's the right fight. Have him fight in March or April. Jamal Hill just took some damage, so let him. That was a quick training camp, so let him recover. And then they'll book the title fight for June or July. I mean,
yeah. I
not
think
June, probably July or August. So
yeah.
what do
I
you think?
think so you said Magomed?
I want to see Magomed versus Jan rematch, a 3 round featured fight on a pay
But
per
who do
view.
you want to see Hill
Yeah,
fight?
the winner. I want to see the
The
winner of
winner.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Okay,
don't think
I
either of
understand
those
that. So you
guys
want
are
to see
right.
him fight like the summer, late summer.
Yeah, late summer, and I want to see
Yeah.
those guys fight in March or April.
Got
You
it.
know what I mean? Like it's been a month. It's been over a month
Yeah.
since then. They should be ready to get into another training camp soon. So
Yeah, I think that would be a good fight to have, number one contenders fight because you can't really give it to any of these other
yeah,
guys.
you can't give it to either of
And
those guys either. Nobody has a
yeah,
rightful case. Magomed
yeah.
or Jan, neither of
Which
them.
is why maybe I'd like to see Pereira move up because first of all, like they're kind of holding up the whole division with Pereira at 185 because there's no talk of any title fight. So in my opinion, I feel like if you jump Pereira up now, that'd be really good because he has a good chance to knock out a guy like Jamal
Yeah,
Hill.
because it's gonna be
And
a
I feel
striking
like
battle.
that'd be amazing. Like imagine Pereira comes to the UFC, becomes a champion, beats Izzy, becomes a champion at 205, like Izzy failed to do, and then leaves the UFC. That'd be
That'd be
so
savage.
fucking
I
dope.
think he could beat Hill too.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's gonna be a striking battle. Hill's not shooting for a takedown. I think Pereira KOs him, honestly. Like you saw them
I
in the
think
cage.
I think Pereira knocks him out. And I feel like Jamal Hill's power is a little bit overrated.
I mean, I think it's good. I just think
He has
last night
decent power. It's
I,
not
I
it's not the it doesn't have he's not the hardest hitter in the division.
no, no, no. I think the thing about his power also last night, I think he was holding back a little bit because I think he knew that like if he threw like how he always does, he'd gas out like he did in the past. So I think he kind of held back a little bit too at on some of his strikes. But nonetheless, I mean, he was hitting Glover hard, and I think Glover's
Mm-mm.
chin is also
Yeah,
just amazing. You know what I mean?
yeah, of
So I
course.
don't necessarily know if it has to do with his power, but yeah, he may not be the hardest hitter. Like I think Magomed may be the hardest hitter in that division, like straight up. You know, Magomed or Jan.
Or Yuri. I think Yuri hits harder
Yuri's.
than Magomed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yuri puts dudes to sleep, bro.
So
Like
does Hill though. I mean, he's sweet
Hill
dreams.
doesn't Hill hasn't put anyone up.
Walker.
That's the only Walker has been put to
I
sleep.
mean, don't who Yuri put
Yuri put Ozdemir to sleep. He put Reyes to sleep.
Reyes.
He put tons of guys in his other promotion to sleep. There's Yuri's got like a 10-minute highlight reel putting guys out cold.
I mean, I probably think Magomed straight up is maybe the hardest puncher in that division, hardest striker overall. I think Yuri. I think the weird thing about Hill is because I think he beats Yuri. I think stylistically that's a good matchup for him, but I don't think he beats Magomed. I don't know if he beats Jan. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So like, I just think stylistically, like wild guy like Yuri, he may be able to take advantage with and maybe sleep him honestly. Because I think like as we saw last night, I mean the question was is Hill too wild of a striker? And I think he put that to rest, you know, by being a lot more patient, very accurate with his strikes. And I think that would
Yeah.
really fuck up Yuri, you know. I don't and they're similar heights. So I was gonna say that he's longer reach, but I think it's pretty similar. But yeah, no, I think he fucks up Yuri. Magomed versus Hill, I think I would probably pick Magomed because I think he would be able to slow the fight down a little bit. I think he's better on the feet than Glover.
Yeah. Oh
He's got
yeah.
better kicks and stuff like that. I think he could chop up Hill's legs. And I think he could even bring in some wrestling, you know. I think
Mhm.
his grappling at this point could be more effective than Glover. Straight up, I think
But
Glover's
but
the
that's here's
grappler.
what I'm saying. Like I feel like if you're gonna say Magomed's grappling better than Glover, then that means Glover right now is not the grappler
It
that he
could be
was.
better. It could be better. By that I mean like because of the striking, it could be better. Like
Yeah.
straight up, Glover's grappling is better. But I just think that
I,
Glover,
I think Glover went downhill with his grappling, man, because if you're looking at
I
his
don't.
last two fights, I mean, Glover on his come up, every time he got guys down, they had no chance to get up. Like they were not getting up. And last night, Glover had him in mount. I've never seen someone get mounted by Glover and get up like that. And I'm not like hating on Jamal Hill or anything like this, but I know that dude is not the same level of grappler as some of the other guys that Glover has rolled with.
I have a question. Who do you think's a better grappler, him or Yuri and Yan? I think he's definitely
Oh,
better.
definitely Jamal Hill.
Okay, so,
Definitely
so
Jamal Hill.
I just think the question is, I mean, I think Magomed's style would really fuck with him though. You know
Oh,
what I
it
mean?
would because then
I
he could
think
mix in the takedowns
also also you
and the
can't.
kicks. Yeah.
He's too creative. I think Magomed's too creative for a guy like Hill. I think like he could like he's gonna throw some shit that like
I,
Hill.
I think that Magomed's a little overrated on the feet because here's the thing, like he's good on the feet, but I mean Jan is probably in
Jan's
my
also great
opinion,
on the feet, and Jan's
Jan's
got the
good on the
leg
feet.
kicks. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The leg kicks are the thing that's like the X factor with that fight. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't for the leg kicks, like what would have like Jan would have gotten killed.
Yeah.
But those leg kicks are super effective. So like that's what makes Jan dangerous. But then you
Right.
take Jan against a guy like Glover who will shoot takedowns. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Magomed doesn't always shoot until like later on in the fights.
Right.
In all of his fights, you know what I mean? Just think of the Smith fight too. He didn't
Yeah.
shoot.
But the thing is, I feel like Hill is a better striker than Magomed. He's a better striker than Magomed. I think he just
Magomed's a better overall fighter though.
I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that. Like I would favor Magomed to win that fight.
Yeah.
Um Yuri for me is like, the guy who could lose to everyone, but he could
But
beat
also
everyone.
could beat everybody.
So
I
like
don't know
that
if he beats
Yuri's
a guy like Jan though. I
I think he might be able to I mean, like again, man, Jan could definitely pick him apart, leg kick him and all that. But Yuri just seems to be like I Yuri fights are so hard to predict.
yeah, because you never
And
know.
we don't know what we're gonna get because he's coming off of this injury. But did you see his video? His message to Jamal Hill?
Yeah, that was a good message. That was I gotta love
Yeah.
you. No, I really like him. He's one of my favorite fighters for sure. But I just think at the end of the day, like he's very wild. There's not much. He doesn't have much technique, to be honest. He's just a tough, wild man. You know what I mean, with a lot of power. And I think I think he could fuck guys up. Honestly, you know what I think about Yuri? I think he struggles against grapplers. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. I think he struggles against grapplers. I think if you're a striker, I think you could really fuck up a striker just because of how wild he is. And
But
I
then
think
you got to put him up against Jamal, and I feel like Yuri hits way harder than a guy like Jamal Hill.
but at the same time, Jamal Hill is the more accurate striker too. And
He is
Yuri,
more accurate, but I don't see him putting Yuri out on the feet.
but you got to remember when Glover and Jan were striking, and Yuri were striking, Jan was outboxing him straight up. No, Yuri, I'm sorry, Glover was outboxing him. Like just in
Yeah,
terms of just
I can understand that. I think the Glover, like, the Glover that fought Yuri was very different than the Glover that fought Jamal. And I mean, like, I understand that Glover is only like this is barely a year out. This is basically like, 8 months after, but that was such a war, man. That had to have taken so much out of him. And I haven't seen Glover look this weak. When Glover gets on top of guys, he just cuts through them. And like he had nothing for Hill. And I'm not ready to say that Hill was just like this really great grappler. Glover looked bad. I can't unsee it. He looked bad and Hill looked good too. I
But
think it was a mixture. And I
how
feel
do we
like
know that like if it wasn't that Hill is just good, really good?
no, Hill is good. He can be both good and Glover can also look bad. Like I'm just talking about seeing Glover independently in the fight. When he got on top of Hill, he didn't do anything great to maintain the position. Like he kind of just sat there and kind of let Hill bum off. And when I've seen Glover fight before, he's always active on the ground. He's heavy. He looked weak. He was his striking again. He looked very uncoordinated this time, and he always gets hit. But this time it was different. He just looked like he was reacting so slowly, and I don't know, man. He looked bad, but Hill looked good. Like
But
when
also,
I
what
say
if
Hill
Hill?
looked good, I mean his techniques, his kicks, his punches. They all looked good. But Glover looked bad. Like the way he was moving wasn't good throughout the fight.
But also imagine if Jamal Hill had a longer training camp.
Oh no, I'm no. If Jamal Hill looked good, there's nothing to do with Jamal. Glover just looked bad as well. That's all I'm saying. Like
I think
Glover
that
did not look good.
I think
He
it could
did
be the
not look
reason
like the Glover that fought Yuri.
I just think maybe the reason he did look bad was because of how good Jamal was, though. That's what I'm thinking. Because
I understand. I understand that. When I'm saying he looked bad, I mean like watching him move, watching him actually grapple, watching him strike, watching him move forward. He looked slow. He looked uncoordinated. And
I
and
mean,
and Jamal looked great.
yeah.
Jamal looked
I just
great.
think the grappling, I don't know if his grappling was bad. I just think that like Jamal is has that weird strength. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. Like, I mean, I know
It
Santos.
could be that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. And I want to see the winner. I want to see Jan versus Magomed booked ASAP. Like what's the reason to wait? Like these guys have had a month to recover. Like book them on the John Jones card. I mean, that's probably too soon. Book them on the UK card. Why not?
Yeah.
Or the 287 in Brooklyn. Put them as the feature fight on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested, like
Mm-hmm.
why not? Let's get this division rolling. This is one of the most entertaining divisions just in terms of just being super wild. Like, let's
Yeah.
keep it going. So yeah, I'm hoping they book that. 3 rounder, not a 5 rounder. I think that would make things more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If they're even worried about that being a bad fight. But yeah, I mean, I think the light heavyweight division is super entertaining, and I love how the belts, like who has the belt, like keeps changing. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon either, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's good for the division, man. I could see Jamal Hill defending like once or twice at most, but I don't see him
No.
like that division. Honestly, like I really like light heavyweight because it's so competitive and there's not like a massive gap between everyone. Everyone who's ranked high is pretty decent and there's not like a huge
There's
gap.
no, and then
Whereas
there's nobody that good.
I don't know, man. Like they're better than these. I don't think that's it. It's just like the gap between skill is closer. Like middleweight has a big gap. I don't think these middleweights are better than a lot of 205ers. Like I feel like
No,
middleweight's the worst
I think
division.
middleweight's a weak division too, though.
Middleweight's a weak division. There's only like five good guys in middleweight. Whereas
I think 3 good guys.
there's like, yeah, exactly. There's not many. But
I mean,
I
what do you
wouldn't.
think the best division is? I mean, lightweight and
I would
bantam.
say lightweight, bantamweight, and then featherweight, and then
Why
welterweight.
featherweight? It's only Volk.
It's not only Volk. You have Arnold Allen. You have Connor. I mean, not Connor. Fucking what's his name?
Period.
Ilya Tapiria, Bryce
Yeah,
Mitchell. You have a lot of guys that are good at featherweight.
I don't know if featherweight's strong though, because Brian Ortega is still in the top 5. Same with
Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega. Listen, I think he's overrated, but he's still featherweight. Like it's just impossible for it to not be good skill wise, just based on the fact that it's
the
in
weight.
between 35 and 55.
That makes sense.
Like basically the skill between a 15 ranked featherweight and a 15 ranked middleweight is night and day.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I just think middleweight's also very low level. But anyway,
Middleweight's the worst division. And
yeah, I think
heavyweight. I have to
middleweight,
say, heavyweight. If you really look at it, like
flyweight too.
flyweight is yeah, but flyweight's
Everyone
skilled.
could
Like
also
those
be
guys are
really
skilled.
good.
Yeah, flyweight's skilled. I feel like they're not deep. Like flyweight doesn't have a lot of guys, but they are
Yeah,
skilled.
they may be the most skilled. Like I think Marino is very good. You know, what I mean, I think he's a
Yeah.
great
By
fighter.
the way, I feel like we should talk about Figueiredo moving up
Yeah,
because I really don't think that he's gonna have success because again, we always talk about his big weight cuts. He is big for a flyweight, but he's also 35 and he relies on power rather than speed. He's not a guy that's known for being fast. And so I don't think he's going to have a big speed advantage. And the power advantage is going to decrease when he
it's
moves
gone.
up.
It's gone.
And I feel like I don't see him. I could see him maybe beating a Dominic Cruz, but other than that,
I
I'll
mean,
say doing well.
but the question is, how many more fights does he have though? Like, if he only has 2 more fights, it's not a problem. You
Yeah,
know?
that's well, I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like people say, "What? How do you think he does against the top five?" I don't think he beats a
No,
single guy in the
no,
top five.
no, no. I don't need. I think I agree. But I at the same time, like I could see them just booking them against a Dominic Cruz,
Yeah,
and then like maybe retiring after. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. He's 35. Like I don't think he's got many fight. I don't think he has more than 2 fights left. You
yeah,
know?
he looked bad. He looked bad in that
Yeah, and
fight.
I just think Moreno is just better.
Moreno's better.
He's
Yeah,
only getting better. I think he's at first I thought Pantoja was gonna beat him, Marino, when they fight. But honestly, after last night, I think Marino could beat him, honestly, because I think there's a
dude,
different
I feel like
Marino.
Marino would have more success moving up than Figgy right now because Figueredo's
Marino
peak.
gets clipped though.
He does get clipped, but he's fast and he
Mhm.
also is a really good grappler.
Yeah,
And
but Figgy's also good too.
Figgy's good on the ground, but he looked like shit on the stand up, dude. He looked
Yeah,
so
I
bad.
just think Marino's just a step above. You know.
He is right now. Figgy's
Yeah,
peak for me was 2020. That was his peak.
yeah. When
When he
he
won the belt and he had like 3 or 4 wins that year. He looked amazing.
when
And
he did the short notice fights.
short notice fights. He beat Benavidez twice. He beat Alex Perez, and then he absolutely annihilated. Well, he didn't annihilate Moreno, but he fought Moreno that year.
Yeah, and it was a close fight.
It was a close
Yeah, no,
fight.
I mean, I think he's gonna move up. I think fight 1 or 2 fights and retire, which I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with. But at the same time, like, is he gonna be successful? I don't think so. You know, I don't think he beats any of those guys because, like, look, the reason he was so good at flyweight was because of his power, because he's ridiculous power, and you're just not gonna have that when you move up with guys who are bigger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think he's gonna have okay power for that division, but like nothing that these guys haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like nothing like
Mm-hmm.
a Peter Yan, nothing like a Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean? Like these guys are big. These 35-pounders. There's some guys who cut a lot of weight there. So I
I
think
just find
that
it funny saying like these guys are big, like they're
they're
35.
not big, but they're big
I
for
don't
their
know.
weight.
I'm just in comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just regular humans, they're small.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
little.
Yeah. Of course. So we also had some really good fights between let's see, we had Gilbert Burns actually getting a submission. What
Yeah.
did you think about Burns?
Burns, I thought that was impressive, but like, what do you expect? It's Neil Magny, you know, like
Yeah, Neil
at the
Magny,
same
I don't know
time,
how the hell he fluked his way into the rankings, but he's really not that
he's
good.
fucking trash, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like he's fucking garbage. Like
He's got, he made his way to the rankings by clinching and using his reach and like slowing down
Burns
fights,
is too good
but
to
he
yeah.
is not in my opinion someone that is he is not someone that you should have as like a ranked fighter in the welterweight division.
No,
And
no.
so also again, like as soon as we saw the submission, by the way, my reaction was great. Our reaction was awesome on the live
Oh
stream. I
yeah.
watched it back. But I went to my TikTok to film a reaction, and immediately I see L prediction, L pick. Like I fucking picked Burns to win.
But like,
Yeah. Like
yeah.
though I never said he wasn't gonna win. I just said his submission game is overrated. And I feel like, dude, it took him 4 years, Jacob, to get a submission at welterweight. 4 years.
Pathetic. That's honestly very
That
pathetic.
kind of shows.
Especially being this BJJ guy, and
Yeah,
it's somebody
like
not
he's
even a
good. He
top
is
10.
good, and he did prove me wrong for sure. He did exactly what Gilbert Burns, the
Should
way
do.
he's hyped up, is supposed to do. So he lived up to his hype tonight. He did.
But at the same time, he's not submitting anybody in the top 10. He hasn't. So like he's just not as good as like he's people think he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Gilbert Burns is still underrated though. Like I really think he's
Overall as a fighter, yeah.
yeah.
Like, yeah. I think
I
he beats
feel like
Colby.
I feel like he should fight Bilal or Colby next. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it, man. Like I think Colby's good, but there's only two guys I see Colby beating right now that's really high up,
Bilal
and
and
that's
Leon.
Bilal, and that's Leon. I know you don't agree with the Leon one.
I don't agree with the Leon, but I agree with the
I
Bilal.
think Colby takes him, but I could see Burns beating Colby for sure. I could definitely see that happening. Um, I think that Burns, honestly, like I feel like he needs to play his cards right because, for sure, Neil Magny was a bit of a layup. But if I'm Gilbert Burns and I'm his manager, I'm saying, listen, man, you just destroyed Neil Magny. You got a submission that looks really good. Don't fight the number one guy. Don't fight the hardest guy. Don't fight Hamzat again. Don't fight Shavkat next. Take on a Bilal Muhammad. Get someone in like Bilal because if you win one more and you finish him, that's a title shot.
I don't think he can. I don't think the Bilal fight makes as much sense as the Covington fight though, because I think Bilal is one fight away from a title match. I think Colby is 2 fights away.
But Gilbert Burns, if he beats Bilal, that could be his. If he's
But
finishes
he doesn't
Bilal,
deserve a title shot though.
I don't know, man. Like
Burns
I feel
doesn't.
like
He lost
Gilbert
to
Burns,
Khamzat.
he beat Wonder Boy. He lost to Hamzat, but it was a close fight. So since Usman, that would be 3 out of 4 and a very close fight with Hamzat. I feel like that's gotta.
But then
Who
you're
else
holding the
deserves it more?
division.
Who else deserves it more?
But then there's a huge line in the division for title shots. If
Where's the
Khamzat,
line? The line is Hamzat and then Bilal behind him. There's no line other than that. So that's
but
what I'm
again,
saying.
like
If it's Bilal, so Gilbert Burns to me is the third closest guy because he's closer than Covington right now. Covington should not be in the combat.
Covington, Burns made a good point. He said Covington, when the rankings come out, he better not be at that top
ahead. And so what I'm saying is Hamzat's reserved for a title
Mhm.
shot.
He's
And then
got to be.
behind him is Bilal. So if they're not going to do Bilal Hamzat and they do Burns versus Bilal and Hamzat gets the next title shot, then the winner of Burns and Bilal should get it because that's again 4 fights since Usman.
Okay,
and
yeah,
you won 3.
I see that. I see what you're saying though, but I think I would just rather see Burns versus Covington though. I think that's the more entertaining fight.
I know, I understand that, but I just feel like we have to be realistic, and Covington's not fighting.
Do you think
Burns.
Covington's ever going to return? Like honestly,
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he returns like in 2024. I think he'll return, but I think he'll take on like a big money fight. Like I think he's
not
gonna
a
take
name
on.
anymore.
He's gonna take on like the equivalent of a Glover Teixeira, but for that division, an old guy.
He's not a name though. Nobody
Colby?
cares about Colby anymore.
I care about. You do because you just said you wanted him to fight Burns and Hamzat.
But nobody cares about fucking Bilal either.
Yeah, but you gotta give Bilal a tough matchup, and that's what I'm saying.
So maybe Burns. Okay, fair. Burns has to fight Colby or Bilal. End of discussion. He's got it, and then Shavkat, or you just fucking book Colby against Shavkat.
Yeah.
Colby, you don't want to take any fights. Well, this is the only fight.
He's not going to fight Shavkat. That's the thing. Colby
so then
will not fight
then it sucks for him. He's never gonna fight.
I agree. I 100% agree.
That's what you need to do. You need to offer Colby Burns. If Colby turns it down, you're like, okay, Colby, like the next guy you'd be fighting is Shavkat.
If I'm Colby, dude, like if he's really all about the money, he should just fight like, Nate Diaz type of guys.
Yeah. Or he should just, but like who's there?
Because like he would just beat them and just he could do 10 fights like that.
Who would be the guy for that though? And nowadays, like
he could fight Neil Magny.
Nah, I don't know. I don't think the UFC wants to deal with that though. I think that they're sick of Colby right now. I think that they're tired that he's not like fighting anybody.
I feel like it's the Masvidal incident. It has to be
the Masvidal it is, incident. But do you really
what if Masvidal fucked him up? Like what if Masvidal broke his jaw?
No, like I get what he's doing. I think he's trying to get money from Masvidal, which is a smart thing to do. But do you realistically think he's gonna like sign up to fight Chimaev? Because I don't.
No. I've never believed that. I
thought he was gonna fight I just am hoping that he signs up to fight Burns though.
I don't think he's gonna sign to fight any of those guys. So that's what I'm saying. Listen, the substitute for Colby is Bilal. It has to be.
Okay, so Bilal versus Burns.
Perfect. And then Hamzat gets the next title shot. and he defends against Bilal and
But he
Burns.
may move up though. That's
And
the
if
only
he moves
question.
up, then Burns gets the title shot next, and it's
Against
Burns
like,
versus like Shavkat or something like that.
yeah, I like it. I like it for sure.
But
I just
we also oh wait, what were we gonna say?
I just, dude, I want to see. I mean, okay, never mind. I do want to see Colby come back, but like people don't are gonna stop caring about him very soon. Like, if he doesn't come
I
back,
think Colby comes back, it'll be big because he talks shit, and we need a guy like that.
I.
Colby's the best smack
But
talker
what if
right now.
people ask him about Kamzat? What they're like, why didn't you fight Kamzat?
He'll say some. He'll come
We'll
up
make
with
up
some
something.
line. Yeah, I
Yeah,
I like Colby, man. I feel like I want him to fight, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
yeah.
I thought, I have to say this card was really fun.
It was.
Not the most stacked card, but it was fun, and I'm glad that I watched it. We had some really good prelims, of course. We had good early prelims. I think Lauren Murphy fight should have been stopped. I think that was stopped too late. But yeah. Other than
Yeah,
that, man, this next fight night is not looking good at all.
I'm not even gonna watch that. It's not even next week, by the way. It's the week after,
Are you sure?
February 4th.
Spivak?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Nah, I
I'm not
think
gonna
it's
watch it
next.
though.
Are you sure, man?
Yeah, look, check it out.
UFC 283. Yeah, you're right. This is February 5th.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, yeah, well, listen, I'm probably not going to watch that. I could care less about the winner of Sergey Spivak and Derek
Yeah.
Lewis.
Derek Lewis
Even
is
if
probably
Derek
just gonna get
Lewis
knocked
KOs
out
him, I've
again.
seen a million Derek Lewis knockouts live. And even if Sergey Spivak wins, what's he going to take him down and TKO him? So, like, nothing else on that card interests me. Literally. I'm not going to pretend to care about that card. That's a awful card, especially for the fans in MMA, from that part of the world. They deserve some bigger fights. I understand that a lot of the fighters are Korean, so I'm sure that they know some of them, but let's be honest, like not a good card. And then we have the Perth card, which we're really excited for.
I'm
That
excited,
fight
but
will
at
be
the same time,
exciting.
I'm upset. I
It,
really think it could have been a lot better.
it could have been, man, but
I
the
actually wanted
UFC
to
didn't
talk a
push.
bit about that card too,
Yeah,
about a take I had on my TikTok today. I don't know if you saw it. I think that Islam Makhachev is going to knock down Volkanovski at least once in that fight. What do you think?
I think that's likely.
And people were saying like he's not going to outstrike Volk. I'm not necessarily saying he's the better striker. I'm just saying like the fear of the takedowns and just the straight up power that Islam Makhachev has and the underrated striking that he may catch him with may be what knocks him down. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's going to be what helps makes him finish the fight. Volk could just pop right back up. Um, but at the same time, it could be what finishes the fight because I mean, I think if he knocks him down, I think he's going to jump on top of him. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, I
when
could
Volk
definitely
is
see that
hurt, I mean,
happening.
I
I
think
mean,
he's going to.
Volk is definitely the better striker, but Islam is also a good striker, and
You may
he's
catch
really
him off
hard to
guard.
hit. So when guys hit him, not only are they dealing with the fact that they could get taken down, but they're also dealing with the fact that it's hard to hit the guy,
Yeah.
and you have to take risks, and that risk
You can't.
also comes with the risk of getting taken down. It's a nightmare trying to hit him, and I feel like that's not going to allow Volkanovski to strike how he normally strikes, and Islam will be able to catch him with something. And
Mhm.
Islam obviously has some power, especially with guys that are lacking with the confidence. I mean, let's be honest. Volk's a confident guy. It doesn't matter. Like it's about the issue with the style, and Islam just
Mhm.
presents
It's the
such
worst
an issue.
possible style he could fight.
Yeah, it is.
Like if you
Like
look at a guy like Volkanovski, like
it's such a bad matchup for Volk. And as I said this on my live stream today. If Volkanovski beats Islam, that is probably the most impressive title win ever. It has to
Mhm.
be because
Yeah.
he's against the odds. And it's more impressive than Leon beating Usman because Leon was, the same weight
Usman
class,
wasn't the
much
submission guy
better
that
striker. Usman was older. Islam is dead in his prime. He's got the complete I mean, dude, this is gonna be like, and I don't care what anyone says about Amanda Nunes and fucking Juliana Pena. Listen, that's women's MMA. Like, don't even fucking bring that in the same conversation with
also
Volk and
Amanda's
Izzy.
older too.
Yeah,
Amanda's older.
Amanda Nunes is not Islam Makhachev level. Okay, straight up. So, all I have to say is, and Amanda Nunes is older, but Islam Makhachev, he's probably gonna win. And if Volk does beat him, though, that
It's the most
is,
impressive.
I'm gonna be shocked, and I'll make a video saying like, damn, like this dude is different. I hope it happens, but I hope it happens, man. But I'm not
I
getting my hopes up.
I find it funny how everyone is like you guys are just being biased. Like based off what? Like we like Volk more than Islam. It's just that like we got to be realistic, and
Yeah.
I'm not even cheering for Volk at this point because I don't want to get my hopes up just to get upset. But in the
Yeah, I
reality,
understand that.
I like Volk more as a fighter.
Let me ask you,
You know what I
who
mean?
do you want to see beat Islam?
I like
Do you want to see Benil? Would you want to see Benil take him out?
no, I would rather a guy like Charles. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I think that Benil's the toughest
Or
matchup right
Fiziev.
now for Islam. I'm not sold on Fiziev. I need to see him fight a wrestler. And
But
until he does, I'll pick Islam. If Fiziev gets to a title shot without taking on a wrestler, I'll pick against him.
the thing about Islam though, the guy who beats Islam is gonna have to be a different style than Islam. Because you're not gonna beat Islam in his
You
craft. You know
have
what
to
I
be
mean?
able to be. You have to be good on the ground. You cannot not be good on the ground.
Oh, you have to be good on the ground, but you also have to have some fucking power and be a great striker to beat him.
Yeah, like Benil.
No. But I don't know if he's gonna be able to hit him.
Benil Benil will be more confident on the feet against Islam than a lot of other guys that Islam has fought.
What about
Even Charles
Fiziev?
Oliveira.
Fiziev could be that guy
I
though.
don't think Fiziev will be able to fight Islam without fearing the takedown. Whereas I think that Benil Dariush will have much less of a fear of the takedown because
Yeah, I would.
he has amazing takedown defense and
I
grappling.
agree. He's a really
And he's
good
strong.
grappler, but I just think that and he's very strong too. I just think that like I don't know if you're gonna beat him in terms of the wrestling. I think sooner than later, at some point, Islam will take you
No,
down.
I agree. I don't think anyone's gonna beat him on the ground. I'm saying that if you're gonna beat Makhachev,
You have to
you
knock him
need to
out,
keep the fight standing.
or you need
Yeah,
to just
you got
knock
and
him
you
out.
have to be a good grappler. And I'm not talking about stuffing takedowns from an old RDA. I'm talking about like stuffing takedowns and also being able to go to the ground with Mateus Gamrot and make him look silly. And like you have to show me that against grapplers. And I feel like the only guys that are going to beat Islam is like a Charles or a Benil, like someone who's got sick ground game. You have like in order to beat these guys with that style, like a Hamzat, you have to have the grappling. You just have to,
You do, but at the same time,
or you
you
have
have
to
the
have some of the
power.
best takedown defense ever. And Fiziev has improved that.
Yeah, I think we need to see Fiziev fight a good grappler
Yeah.
before. I mean, he's not one
Who do you
fight away
think he's
from
going to
title
fight
shot.
after Gagey?
I think he's gonna fight Benil. Oh wait, no, 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 no. That doesn't make maybe
Maybe he'll
Gamrot.
fight
No,
Poirier. Poirier.
no, wait, no. Maybe he'll
Or
fight.
or oh Gamrot.
No,
Yeah, that would
Sarukian,
be a big matchup. Him
Sarukian,
versus Gamrot.
or Sarukian.
Oh, I meant Sarukian. I meant Sarukian, not
Yeah,
Gamrot.
Sarukian. I think maybe they'll do that because I think we'll test him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think both those guys get a win against put Sarukian against Poirier, Fiziev against Gaethje,
And then
have them
the
fight each
winners
other
fight.
after, and then the
Yeah,
winner will fight for the belt.
perfect.
That makes sense.
I can't wait to see Charles versus Benil, man. But I'm leaning towards Benil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that fight. I said Charles when we did the video, but I could just see it going either way. It's like
Yeah, I could definitely see it going either way.
I'm just not confident like betting on a certain side because like at the same
Honestly, bro,
time,
I'm gonna be real. I would bet on Benil just because
what if
based
it's
on the
even
fact
money? What if it's straight up even
if it's
money?
even money, then no. But maybe in a parlay.
I think it's gonna be even money. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be confident betting either of these guys, because I also could see just Charles just flatline knocking out Benil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can see Benil just knocking Charles down and submitting it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For
So I think
sure.
it could go either way. But I'm super excited for that fight. I'm super excited for Fiziev versus Gaethje because I think we're gonna see Gaethje get knocked out brutally. Because like you can't fight the way he does against a guy like Fiziev. You just can't. Like how is he gonna do it? Like truly, how is he gonna strike? How is he gonna be like fight like a drunk guy against a guy like Fiziev? You can't. He's gonna
Yeah.
get fucking flatline KO'd. Like honestly, I think he's gonna
Yeah.
have the most brutal knockout ever. If you,
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, I think he's gonna have the. I think I'm predicting it right now. Fiziev is gonna have the most brutal knockout of the year. That's my prediction.
I don't think he'll have the most. I don't know about that, but like he
Dude, the
might.
way that Gaethje fights, it's just gonna set it up for that.
Yeah. I
Like
think he's gonna go out too.
there's just no way he doesn't. Like you know, what I mean, maybe first round too. You saw how he was against Oliveira. Like in the first round, he was swinging like a drunk guy.
Right.
So
Right.
if he does that against Fiziev, it's done right away. The first time he does it, he's out.
Mhm.
Fiziev is literally one of the best strikers in the UFC, without a doubt. And
Fiziev is not KOing these guys in one round. Like
he's not. I mean,
he's only
he
done that to one
has
guy in the UFC.
Moicano.
Yeah, that was the only guy.
I mean, he hasn't been in the
He
UFC
didn't do that to Brad
much.
Riddell. He took Brad Riddell 3 rounds at the end of the third.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
Brad, no
he's
chin
also
Riddell.
only getting better too.
For sure, he's getting better. I
Yeah.
think that Fiziev's gonna knock him out, but I don't know if
Maybe
he's gonna
not first
KO him in
round.
the
Maybe
first
not
round.
first round. I think second or third round.
I think second or
But
third
he's gonna
round.
flatline him. It's not just gonna
I
be
think
like
it
some
could be a flat
TKO.
line. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
It's not gonna be some
I think
TKO.
he'll catch him
I
with
think
like a he could catch him with a head kick
yeah, I could think
or a
it could be a
hook,
flying
something like
knee.
that.
Be a flying knee.
Flying knee.
Anything. I think Gaethje's just. I don't know what he sees in this fight. Truly, like, what do you think Gaethje sees in this matchup? Or do you think that's the only matchup
Dude,
that
I
he?
honestly think he's just doing it for a paycheck.
Because this is the worst matchup for him, other than Islam. Truly, like this is
Yeah,
the
that
worst
is it
matchup
is
for
a
him.
bad matchup, but there are other bad matchups for Gagey. Let's say Beneil takes him down, fucks him up, submits him.
Yeah.
I bet Armin takes him down,
Gaethje doesn't
submits
have
him.
bad. Like Gaethje's takedown defense isn't is like known to be like decent though.
Yeah, it's decent, but once he's there, he's done.
Oh, he's shit at jujitsu, but
Yeah.
I think with a guy like Fiziev, like it's gonna be standing, and
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. I'm just
Gaethje
saying
fighting
I
against
feel
an
like
elite.
Gagey has a ton of bad matchups, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he's overrated.
Fiziev is a bad. Oh, he's definitely
Very
overrated.
overrated. I don't know why there's Gaethje fanboys still.
Dude,
I
because
just
they're
don't
just
really
like
get
he's
it.
a dog. They just get caught up in the wars. Like, okay, just because you can listen, I can be a fan. Like, here's people are so incapable of thinking with like nuance. I like Justin Gaethje's fights.
Mhm.
I don't like Justin Gaethje's personality, and I don't want him to win.
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll
not
pick
that
him to
good.
win, and sometimes I won't. I'm not picking him to win here, and he's still overrated.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's that good. I mean, like I
Yeah,
like him. I like Gaethje's fight style. Like it's fun. It's just he's just not that good. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I just got to be realistic at the end of the day. Like Rafael Fiziev is elite Muay Thai fighter. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I've said this before, but he taught guys like Peter, like he was the instructor to guys like Peter Yan, Kai Car France, Israel Adesanya in those Muay Thai classes. Like he's
Mhm.
the top of the line there. And I mean, like people ask him to learn, they learn from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I like, and then you're gonna expect a guy like Justin Gaethje who got outstruck by Charles Oliveira, knocked down by Charles Oliveira. Like I know Charles is a good striker, but he's nowhere near the level of fucking Fiziev. You know what I mean? Like you may be able to hit Charles Oliveira, but Fiziev has ridiculous defense. Like you know what I mean too. Like
yeah.
he doesn't get hit that much. Like
True.
when is besides the Bobby Green fight, when has Fiziev really got hit?
He got knocked out in his first UFC fight, but other than that, not really. That was a one off.
Yeah, that happens with a bunch of guys,
Yeah,
Islam and stuff. But yeah, no, I just think that Fiziev has really good defense too, and I just think Gaethje, the only guys he really has success against are guys who don't have good defense. You know what I mean? Like a Michael
yeah.
Chandler, a fucking fucking Charles Oliveira. Like I think guys like that he does well against. But you take a good striker like a Poirier, like he fucks him up. I was like as we saw,
Charles fucked him
Fiziev,
up.
Charles, who's a good.
Charles killed him in one.
But I mean, he was able to hit Charles. I don't think he's gonna be able to hit Fiziev like that. I don't. And he wasn't able to hit Poirier like that.
Mhm.
He was just chopping his legs. That's what he was doing to Poirier. Because Poirier is the traditional boxing style. So that's why he was able to chop his legs. Fiziev doesn't have that traditional boxing style. It's a little bit
Right.
different. And Fiziev will check more kicks too, and yeah, I think it's a nightmare matchup. But in terms of who I think has the best chance against Islam, like yeah, it has to be a good grappler. I just think that you're never like I think you need a guy like I think it's the best chance against Islam is someone who can knock him out. And I think Fiziev has the best shot at knocking him out. If Fiziev can stuff one takedown and stays on the feet, I think I mean, I'm not going to predict it, but he does have a chance to knock him out. I think he's that high level at striking that he'd maybe be able to.
He's
So,
definitely his chance for sure.
will I predict it? No, no way. I don't think anyone beats Islam. I think he defends the belt for as many times as he wants and then he moves up or retires. So, I mean, I don't think anybody could beat Islam, but I think if anybody has a chance, I'm gonna say fucking. I think I'm gonna say Fiziev, but I think in terms of being a competitive fight, like who do I think is Islam gonna struggle the most with to not like dominate? Like you know what I mean? I think Beneil. I think Beneil is his hardest matchup to finish, at least if that makes any sense, or to beat. But he doesn't have the highest chance of beating him though, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
for
I
sure.
don't know if he's not gonna like submit Beneil in one round. I just can't see it. He's not
Yeah,
gonna submit Armin either in one round. I think those
yeah, yeah.
two guys, I think he beats them, but I think it's closer than anybody else. So,
Yeah, I think we're looking at the lightweight goat.
but yeah, because I just think the thing about physique, like difference between those two guys, I think Khabib is the better wrestler, But I think in terms of striking, I think Islam is levels above him. I think Islam like has also way better defense, and I think he's got a better submission game too. You know what I mean? So like I think when Islam and Khabib were training, like I think Khabib was winning those rounds just because I think he's the better wrestler. But just if it was like a real fight, Islam would win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think he is I think he's gonna be the lightweight goat. I think he's gonna fuck up Volkanovski. And then I think he's gonna fuck up the winner of Charles Beneil,
Hmm.
which I would probably prefer to be Beneil because like I think Charles, I mean, I don't know how that outcome would be different. I
Yeah.
think Beneil at least would be interesting. So there'd be a lot of interesting scrambles and stuff like that. I think it'd be a close fight, but I think Islam would edge it out, or get a late submission or TKO. Yeah, and I think he's gonna win that, and I think he's gonna beat a Fiziev, and I think he's gonna move up, and then we'll see what happens when he moves up, or I think he's gonna retire because I mean
Yeah.
they got Usman Nurmagomedov who's just waiting for Islam to retire to come into the UFC. So we'll see.
True.
Do you like? I have a question. Do you mind Islam now being a champion? Like after a few months, like obviously we were upset at first because we really like Charles, but like as a couple months have gone by, like are you how do you feel towards that?
Dude, I honestly don't mind Islam. Like, I like Islam. Listen, I was a big fan of Charles, and I actually thought Charles was gonna win. So I was, shitting a little bit on Islam, poking fun at him. But there really aren't any other 55ers that I'm a massive fan of that I think have a good chance of beating him. So I think Islam is great, and I kind of like the guy. So I feel like no, I don't mind him being champ.
I don't really mind it. I mean, I just don't like we said, I don't know if it's the best for the sport, obviously, if he just keeps smoking guys. But at the same time, I mean, like I think a Beneil fight could be a real interesting fight, and I think it'd be
Yeah.
entertaining. You know what I mean? Or an Armin fight. I think that'd be really entertaining. So like I don't know if it actually is as bad as for the fans as like we thought maybe, you know?
Hmm.
And I think he
Absolutely.
definitely has some personality, Islam. It's a little different than Khabib's personality. Like I think Khabib had a good personality too. Islam's a bit more like confident, you know what I mean? Like he talks a bit more trash, you know what I mean? And he does it like more in like a funny way. I would say Khabib is more like respectful, and I think they're both respectful guys, but I think Khabib is just a more like the kind-hearted guy. I think Islam's a bit like he's just more like funny, I guess. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's more cocky.
The more cocky, yeah. And I kind of like that to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
do too. I do too.
when he was chirping Volkanovski, he was like short guy or something. That
Exactly.
I thought that was really funny. And I
I
think that
like Islam. I like his sense of humor, and he's definitely. Listen, I mean, like his style is not the best ever to watch. Like he's not gonna ever be the most entertaining guy in the UFC, but he has great skill, and it's fun to watch a guy who's that highly skilled,
yeah, and
especially in a
I
highly
think
skilled division.
I think the thing about it though is I think with Khabib too, I think Khabib got more entertaining as his fights go on. So I'm thinking that there's a chance that Islam gets more entertaining as his
Oh
fights
no,
go.
like what I mean is, I think he's
It's never going to be the
entertaining.
most entertaining though. Yeah,
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 that's what I mean. Like he's never gonna be the most, but his fights are all gonna be fun.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
forward to
agree.
his next one.
I think they're fun. I just think that they're not like as good as like a Fiziev or like a Charles when he was
Yeah,
champion. Yeah. And like I agree. I don't mind him as a champion now. Like since he's here, like it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't mind it. And I want to see him keep winning. You know what I mean? I want to see how far this guy can go. You know what I mean? Like I want him to be the lightweight GOAT because the thing I don't like about Khabib, I love Khabib. I love Khabib. Um, at the same time, I just don't like that he's the GOAT without like staying around for that long. If that makes any
yeah,
sense. You know what I mean? So like I'd rather a guy like Islam, like because I think
surpass
he
it.
could have a way better resume. You know what I mean? Like I just don't like the fact that got the belt from beating Al Quinta and literally defended the belt 3 times. You know what I mean? Like I just don't like that. That's the fucking GOAT of that division.
Yeah,
I'd rather a guy like Islam who beat Oliveira, amazing in the first place, top 4 pound for pound. He was the champion. Volkanovski, who's trying to become double champ, first pound for pound, number 1 pound for pound fighter in the UFC. And then like a great grappler like Armin or something like that's an amazing resume because Khabib, I just think there was a lot of holes in his resume. And I
there
think he
are,
could have beaten those guys. Like he for sure could have beaten those grapplers.
but he didn't.
Just but he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Islam's gonna beat those grapplers. So like, and I want to see him beat those grapplers. So like that we have a new lightweight GOAT. I just don't like all those holes, if that makes any sense.
I think that by 2025, Islam will be solidified best lightweight ever, without
Yeah.
a doubt.
225. I think
He
2024.
said he said he wants to move up and he wants to take. He says in 2000, after he defends 4 or 5 times he's going to move up to welterweight.
4 or 5 times could be 4 times, could be 3 times too. You know what I mean? Like it could, or yeah, it could be
I
more than
don't.
that.
I think he's going to be. I think he's
It'll
going to
it'll
be
be
Volk.
four. It'll be probably four.
I think he's going to fight 2 more times this year, and I think that he'll fight. I feel like he could defend 5 times, 6
Yeah.
times.
I mean, he could defend how many times he wants to defend. It's just whether when he's going to retire or move up. You know what I mean?
I don't think he has the same reason to retire like Khabib. Like he doesn't
But
have
at
that
this,
same thing.
but these guys, they both like they don't want to take that much damage though. I think you know what I mean. Like
It wasn't about that for Khabib. It was
yeah,
about his
yeah, of
dad.
course. But also, what about when Usman comes? At some point, they're going to want Usman to come up to UFC, not
Oh,
and
for sure,
you know what I mean?
absolutely, and that's when for
Yeah,
sure. But he's also 23, so
25. Yeah,
no,
but like,
he's 23.
sure. Wait, hold
I'm
on.
pretty sure Usman Nurmagomedov is 23. Umar is 26.
Nurmagomedov. Is he actually
He's 24.
24? He's 24. Okay, wow. So
Yeah,
he's got some time. Okay, so like in three
that's what
years,
I mean. Like I'm sure he'll come to the UFC when he's like,
in
and
th-
he'll be like Michael Chandler. He'll be a star, a champion. So they'll just get him right into like a title shot.
I respect that. No, I got it. Yeah, he'll fight 3 more years, Islam. About
Yeah,
3 more years. That's exciting, honestly. I'm excited to see Islam when he moves up, though. I think that'll be I think that'll be interesting because we'll see. Like, I don't know what that division is going to look like back up in the future. You know, what I mean, I'm assuming Shemaev won't be in that division anymore, but a Shavkat versus Islam Makhachev matchup, like that could be fucking crazy. Like, who
I
knows?
would pick Islam to win that.
You pick Islam to beat Shavkat.
I
I
think
want
I'd
to
pick
see
him.
more of Shavkat. That and
Yeah,
I'll judge. You know, what I mean, I want to see Shavkat smoke Joff Neal in less than a round. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I want to see him fucking beat a Gilbert Burns
right.
before I can say he's like as good as a Chimaev or
I
like as
kind of want him to get derailed.
you want him to get to rerolled?
I like certain guys getting derailed. I'm not a fan of Shavkat.
I
Dude,
like Shavkat
he's
because
just some guy from the mountains that people like who barely speaks a lick of English. He's from Kazakhstan and he's got like this
he's fun
all
though.
people think he's gonna fuck up Chimaev, and I'm like, I like Chimaev.
But
I don't
based
think he
off
does.
what?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want
Yeah,
him to get derailed. I want him to lose so that people are like, okay, he's not like the second coming of
he's not the
Jesus.
next Chimaev. I think there's no way. I think he
So
is
that's
very
why
good though.
I want him to get derailed. I'm gonna be rooting for Jeff Neal. I want to see Shavkat fight like tough guys. I like it's okay, guys, to be a fan of MMA and to want a guy to get derailed. Like at the end of the day, it's entertainment. Okay. Like if I want Shavkat to get derailed, that's fine. Like, if you want to root for him, fine. What's wrong with me rooting for Jeff Neal, bro? It ain't a problem.
I have a question. You, the thing I think there's a lot of pressure on Shavkat. I think if he doesn't make light work out of Joff Neal, I don't think he's that as good as people think. You know what I mean? I think for Shavkat, for people to actually like the hype to continue, he has to finish Joff Neal within less than a round. Do you
I
agree?
don't think he has to do it in less than a round. He just has to finish him.
But what if it's a close decision? Then his hype is
Well,
done.
that looks bad for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it can't. This isn't Gilbert Burns. This is Joff Neal. Like he's not like that good. You know what I mean? Like
He's definitely not Neil Magny though. He's good.
he's good. But I mean,
Yeah.
Shavkat smoked Neil Magny too. But he took him longer than it did against Burns.
Yeah, I don't think Shavkat's that great, so I'm gonna be rooting for Jeff Neal.
I mean, I would say I want to have Shavkat win because I just don't think him and Shemaev will ever fight.
It's good for him to win. It's good for him to
It'll
win.
be great for the
It'll be
UFC
good
if
for the
he wins.
sport. I just sometimes like when hype gets derailed. Like I would have liked Jan to beat O'Malley.
Yeah, I feel that, but I also like some hype to like continue. You know what I mean?
I
Like a
understand that. I
shot, like a
understand that.
Chimaev.
I get that. I also just like the idea of, Shavkat losing and then everyone being like, what was all that hype about? You know what I mean?
But at the same time, if he beats Joff Neal and it's a close decision, then the hype is done too. At
Of
least for
course, of
people.
course. So like I don't mind that either. I would like him to get it'd also be cool if he gets a finish. There are certain guys I want to succeed in the UFC really badly, and then there are certain guys where I honestly don't mind if they're just a pawn for a hype derail.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, the guys I want to see succeed the most, and I'll ask you, 3 guys. I want you to name 3 guys that you want to see succeed the most. And so for me, it would be Volk. And I am realistic. I don't think he beats Islam, but it'd be Volk. I want to see him succeed at lightweight. And then for 2 would be Whitaker. and 3 would be Hamzat.
Uh,
Those are my guys I want to see succeed.
okay. Let me think for a second. I think for me, I think the guy I want to succeed the most is Chimaev. I think he brings a lot of entertainment. I think he could be a mega star. Not a Conor
He starts
McGregor, but
fighting though. He needs to start fighting.
I think that just has to do with nobody wanting to fight him. Nobody's gonna fight him until he gets a belt. What I
True.
mean? That's the end. That's what it's gonna be. Um, Nobody wants to risk these like win streaks to fight a guy like Chimaev. What I mean? Unless it's for a belt. So I think that's what it comes down to. But I think people. I think he wants to fight, but I think he'd be huge. Him as a champ would be huge for the sport because I think he'd likely also become a double champ, which is even bigger for the sport. Whenever guys are fighting for double champ, like those pay-per-views always do well. So I think Chimaev is who I want to succeed the most, number one. I think number two, I'm gonna really think number two is tricky because I don't know. I mean, I want to see John Jones win at heavyweight, I would say. Does that count as like a guy like who
Yeah,
wants
for sure.
John
Could be
Jones? I want
anyone.
to see him win at heavyweight because I want to see. I think if he wins at heavyweight, I think that could be the greatest moment in UFC history, and I want to see that. I want to experience that. I want to like have that memory. So I would say John Jones, number two. I think number three, I do like Whitaker, but I just that kind of interrupts with the Chimaev thing. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that's where it gets kind of tricky. So I let me think. Hmm. I want to see Ilya Topuria succeed.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see him knock out Volk. I want to see him be the guy who knocks
Dude,
out
I
Volk.
want Volk to smoke his
N-
ass, bro.
Nothing against Volk at the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
day.
yeah.
I think it's cool when the next up and comer finishes the great in that division.
That's so that's
You,
that's exactly the take. That's exactly the thing that I want to happen to Jones. I think it's cool when the new wave like puts a stamp on it and says, "Listen, your generation's done. Like you're done. You were amazing back in the day, but we're just better than you now." That's what I want
Mhm.
to happen to Jones. And I like
Yeah,
Jones. I do. I like John Jones, and if he wins, it'll be awesome. I'm literally not going to be sad at all if he wins. But I
yeah.
do want Cyril Gahn to beat him up or to knock him out.
I just, but I think with John Jones, I think it's a little different because I think he is the greatest. You know what I mean? So I think like just experiencing the greatest, like solidify himself as the actual greatest, where you can't even argument. I think that's a moment I don't want to like not happen. You know what I mean? I want to experience that moment. I think Volk. I mean, I think Volk is gonna lose to Islam. Like I don't think. I think when he loses to Islam, I think that gets him out of that top of that list. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
this is so crazy how like we're all so sure that he'll lose. Like
Yeah.
goes to show how much people think is how good Islam is based on
Yeah.
that performance that he had against Charles.
I just think stylistically, it's just the worst matchup. You know what I mean? Like nothing against Volk, like no disrespect to Volk. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's got a real chance at beating most 55ers besides Islam. I just think that Islam, just stylistically, that wrestling, just the strength, the size, I think it's gonna fuck him up, honestly. The defense, like I just think there's nothing Volk could do that's not gonna like set him up for failure. You know what I mean? If he's super aggressive, he's gonna get taken down. If he's not aggressive enough, he's gonna get pieced up on the feet. Like it's just as
Yeah.
simple as that. Like he doesn't have the knockout power either. You know what I mean? Like he's a great striker and he does have power, but he doesn't have one punch knockout power in 45. And if you don't have it in 45, you're not having it in 55. I hate to break it to you. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't see him having a real chance at winning. But if he does, I mean, like that's the most impressive moment in UFC history completely. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, I would say Topuria. I want to see him succeed. I think I want to see him be the guy who knocks out Volk. Nothing against Volk again. I it'd be cool for like also Volk will be older too at that point. So I don't think it'll hurt his legacy too much at that point. So he'll defend the title against Rodriguez. He'll solidify himself as the GOAT of that division. Then if he gets knocked out by fucking Topuria, what's the big deal? He already has 5 title defenses. You know?
Yeah.
Beat Max Holloway, the second GOAT, like 3 times, or the third GOAT, whatever, 3 times. Like that's enough. That's gonna keep him as the fucking featherweight GOAT, regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't that's why I want to see it.
Bro, if I was Volk, dude, I would have just defended 3 times this year.
Yeah, but dude, at the same time, like I mean, I respect it though because like I think like I think he was bored, honestly. I think at featherweight he was bored. I think he wanted to try to be great. You know what I mean? Like you live once, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you only live once. And if you have that opportunity, like even if it's like a long shot, like you take it, you know what I mean? Because the reward is just huge. It's like hitting them, it's honestly like winning a marathon, like winning a lottery, beating
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev. You know what I mean? Like it's like a huge risk. I mean, it's not a huge lotteries aren't a huge risk, but in terms of just being a big reward, I think, yeah. So I don't I think it seems worth it to him, you know,
Yeah.
because if you lose to Islam, it doesn't affect you being the featherweight goat. But if you win, like you have a real chance of
Honestly,
beating
I
someone
do
goat.
like Islam as a champ now. Like honestly, I
Mhm.
prefer like dude, I like Islam more than like Moreno. Dude, Moreno's my
Yeah,
least favorite champion. Like I don't
Moreno. I
mind him,
mean,
but
like
it's just like I can't be a fan of him. Like I'm never going to want to see what's going on in Moreno's world.
I
I
just
could
don't
care
care. He's
less.
just a Lego nerd. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like
Yeah.
yeah, there's not yeah, I agree with you. I like Islam more than him. I like Islam more than Izzy as a champ. When Izzy was champ, like I
Dude,
mean,
same. I agree.
I like yeah, I Izzy probably won't be a champ again, but in terms yeah, I think I liked him more than Izzy. I like Pereira more than fucking
Pereira, I like more than Izzy.
yeah. Yeah, I like Jamal Hill more than Islam as a champ. I like if John Jones is champ of heavyweight. I like that
I
more.
prefer Islam than Jamal. Like I like Jamal Hill. Like he's cool, but
Yeah, but the fights will be closer though.
I'm more invested in Islam's career than
Yeah,
Jamal.
but the fights will be more entertaining with Jamal because they can go either way.
Yeah, they will. They definitely will be. Like light heavyweight is entertaining, so I agree.
Aljo, I like Islam more than Aljo as a champ for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind Islam. I just think that there's other guys who like. I think a Charles as a champ would be more entertaining. I think a
Yeah.
Fiziev as a champ would be more entertaining, but not a Ben Hill or Sarukian. Those
No,
guys are
yeah, I can understand that. Like I you know, I love getting behind certain guys. Like I'm a fan of Islam for sure these days. I do like him, but I want to see him lose just because it's like seeing Habib lose and you just
yeah,
want to see it
but
happen.
I don't even know if I want him to lose at this point because I think just like I think like if he was gonna lose, I wanted it to be against Charles that time, to be honest. And at this point, like he just smoked Charles. I want to see the
But
greatness. You
wouldn't
know
it
what I
be
mean?
great to see that style that we've never seen get demolished actually get
It
demolished?
would be, but at this, yeah, yeah, that is a good point. That is a true point. But at
Like
this,
how dope would it be to see Islam's takedowns get stuffed and see him get
I don't
hit
know if I
and have a
wanted to
rough
see it
fight?
against Volk though. I think I'd rather see it against the Fiziev or something. Like
Dude,
you,
I'm telling you, man, if Volk wins, I'm gonna fucking be super
I'd
excited.
be happy too. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah,
think that like I think I'd be more happy if he defends the belt a couple times and then he loses to like a Fiziev. You know what I mean? Like so that there'll be more hype around him already.
right, right.
You know what I mean? Like he's now only defended the belt once. No, he didn't defend the belt yet, even. So like there's not
Yeah,
as much hype as there could be in a few years, if that makes any
yeah,
sense.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, man. I
But
definitely agree.
I like him. I do. I just think either I another guy I want to talk about for a second as Israel Adesanya. I mean, what's going on with that guy, honestly? Like is he gonna fight Pereira or not? Because like I don't think he wants to.
I mean, I feel like he got knocked out when November. I feel like he's only taken a couple months off. He's definitely getting his mind right. He's been posting some really weird stories. Like I actually think Izzy might be gay. I'm just throwing it
Yeah.
out there.
Not a
He's
problem, but I think
yeah,
you may be onto something, you
but
know?
like, dude, I feel like he might, dude. We called it before the fight. I think Pereira. I feel like Israel might never fight again. I think Pereira retired him.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't hate Izzy at all. I mean, is he the most entertaining? No, not at all. Is he one of my favorites?
I
No.
like Izzy when he's in the fight game. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. He's when he's in the fight game, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, but at
But
this, like, is he one of my favorites? No, but I think he's second guessing stuff. That's what I think. I think he's really second guessing stuff in his
well, let's check
mansion.
his Instagram. Let's see what he's up to.
I think he's made a lot of money, and I think at the end of the day, like, I think it's, you know, what I mean, I don't know. I think he's having problems going back.
Let's check his Instagram,
Is he?
dude. He's gonna fight. I'm telling you, he's gonna
I
fight
don't
again.
bender. He's gonna take a long layover though. What's his
Yeah, well
Instagram?
then
Style bender?
we should have Pereira fight someone else.
What Whitaker?
Yeah, do Whitaker
Dude,
or
what's
do
yeah.
Jamal. I'd
Dude,
be
yeah,
more
I mean,
excited for the Jamal fight than the Whitaker one
Izzy's an
because I think
interesting
that's more
dude.
competitive.
I mean, Izzy's an interesting cat. I mean, I like, I don't like. the thing about Izzy, like I want to like him more than I do. It just then he does some shit that just like I'm just like, oh gosh, you know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
so happy that Pereira beat him, bro. I can't
yes,
believe
so
like that was such a good moment.
yeah, for sure. Especially the way he did it. I just think that Adesanya, I mean, he really rubbed me the wrong way how he couldn't accept that loss. You know what I mean? Like if
Right,
he
right.
accepted the loss better, like an Usman, like I honestly gained a lot of respect from Usman after that knockout. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
wasn't the biggest Usman fan. To be honest, I didn't dislike him or anything. Like I was 50-50 with him and Leon. Like I probably wanted Usman to win just so he can fight Chimaev. But like after Usman got knocked out, like how he handled the loss, like I gained a lot of respect for him. You know what I mean? Like giving
Right.
Leon all the credit. Like he could have gave Leon no credit. You know what I mean? Like he could have just said it was a 1 in a million head kick. You know what I mean? Like he could have did something similar, worse than Adesanya did. You know what I mean? Adesanya had a bunch of follow-up shots too. So that was one shot. So he could have made up a bunch of excuses, but no, he gave Leon all the credit and he handled it well. So I gained a lot of respect for Usman. But Adesanya, I mean, I can't respect that. He's delusional. I think that's gonna backfire, or if he does come back, but I don't know if he comes back.
Yeah, I think he's definitely gonna come back. I just really hope that it's soon because to be honest, like we need these guys in the sport. We need these big guys in the sport. Otherwise, we get the Sergey Spivaks versus the Derek Lewises, which are not great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. I think he's really having second guesses about fighting Pereira again. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't know if it's about not coming back. I just think I don't know if he wants to fight Pereira, and like I don't blame him. I mean, I think he's coming to his senses. Like he should. I mean, he shouldn't fight. Do you think if you're Adesanya, are you fighting Pereira again? Because I'm not.
Dude, I'm not fighting him
Yeah,
again.
I don't think. I just think it's such a high risk. Dude, he's had his perfect fight against him and still lost.
Still lost.
Even in kickboxing, the second time he was having his perfect fight and he still got knocked out.
Dude,
Like,
if you can't beat someone the third time, then it's pretty goddamn clear that the odds show that you're not the better fighter.
yeah, like he's like
He
it's just
needs
like,
to chill.
or if that's just his kryptonite. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
just think he should just, again, take on
hold out,
someone else.
or let Whitaker take him and just hope
Yeah,
that
yeah, just
Whitaker
fight
beats
someone
him,
else. Izzy should fight someone else.
or just hold out for a bit and let Whitaker fight with Pereira and just hope that Whitaker beats him. Like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like. I think he's honestly really coming to his senses. Because you're not hearing him still talking about the rematch anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm on Asanya, I've made a lot of money. Like what I mean, he's made a lot of money. Like, what's the point of risking more? So,
He wants to be great, dude. He wants
but
to get it back.
he's never gonna beat him. You know what I mean? At some
He might
point, you
not
just
think
have to
that,
like.
dude. He might not think that. He might
I
be
think he's
delusional.
starting to think that though. I think he's coming to his senses, and I think he's starting to
Well,
think that.
we
I
I
hope.
mean, listen, at the end of the day, we're not really gonna know, but I think that it's only been 2 months, man. So I feel like we have to expect a little more time before we hear an announcement. It's very rare that we hear a fight announcement two months after some
But
guy gets
there's
knocked
no
out.
buzz about it though. There's none.
I know,
The
but
only
I mean,
reports we're hearing is that they may do Whitaker versus Pereira.
which is great, which means that
But
Izzy will
that
get
means
more
that
time off.
that there's maybe a real chance that it's not going to happen. That Izzy Pereira.
Yeah, it's possible.
Do you want it to like at the end of the day, like if you had to pick right now, if you want it to happen again or not, what would you say?
Yeah, I'd be down to see it again.
But do you want to see it again?
It was a fun fight, and I think Pereira knocks him out again. So why not?
I would honestly prefer Whitaker
I
because
prefer Whitaker too, but
I
I'm
think
just saying
Whitaker
I don't
because
mind
that's
seeing
more
it
of a
again.
win-win for us, though. You have to remember, you know what I mean? Because if Whitaker wins, like we love him, you know what I mean? But if
Yeah.
Pereira wins, gets a crazy
But I
knockout,
don't think Izzy wins. So I'm
yeah,
not worried at all as an Alex Pereira fan that he would beat Alex Pereira.
but
I don't see that
what
happening.
would you? But that it comes down to what would you rather see? Otis,
Oh no, I would rather see Whitaker, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to see Adesanya versus
oh, I would
Pereira.
want to see both of them, but if I had to pick, I'd for sure want
Yeah, for
Whitaker.
sure, 100%.
Mhm.
I would have to pick Whitaker versus Pereira.
I hope they do that. I really hope. I mean, I hope they put it on a card towards like April maybe or something. An
Yeah,
April card. I think Pereira will be ready. Obviously, he's got to do his big weight cut. I think he's still maybe recovering a little bit. Maybe not. I mean, I think he's starting to get ready, but I think he can get into training camp in February and get
right.
going.